I studied psychology for 5 years, and here's my top 5 lessons in no particular order, starting with number 1. Autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Miss any of those 3 and your motivation will continue to struggle. This is known as self-determination theory, and it can help you achieve any goal your heart desires. Literally anything you want to do in this world, any goal that you have, self-determination theory can help you with it. For my example, we'll talk about going to the gym, working out, just getting in shape. First, autonomy. This means you feel like you have control over your own actions. Ultimately, if you're going to reach a goal, it should be something you chose, which sounds really stupid and really easy to do, but you'd be surprised how many things you're doing because your parents want you to do it, or your teachers want you to do it, or because your friends want you to do it. When you identify your goal, make sure it's something that you want to do. It's a goal you've chosen yourself, something you can control. Competence. This is the idea your goal is something you're getting better at, and you can see yourself improving. Using our gym example, there's always a heavier weight to lift. One day you're lifting 5 pounds and the next day you're lifting 10. You could see growth in your goal. You could see progress towards your goal. You feel more and more competent. Even if your feeling of competence just comes from getting positive feedback from others, maybe your goal isn't as easily measurable as lifting a heavier weight, just getting positive feedback from others each time you make a step towards your goal, or at least hit some sort of milestone, makes you feel more competent and more driven toward that goal. Lastly, relatedness. At the end of the day, human beings are social creatures. No one has ever reached a meaningful goal while feeling completely lonely the whole time. If you're in a situation where you're truly struggling to make new friends, we'll talk a little more about that in lesson 4. Self-determination theory suggests that you need to satisfy all 3 of these conditions if you want to continually make progress toward a goal. When people make a new goal, they often start really strong but give up shortly after. And this is where lesson 2 comes in. If a behavior is happening at all, behavioral psychologists will tell you that it's because it's constantly being reinforced. You turned on the TV because you were bored and needed entertainment. That TV provided that for you, thus reinforcing you to turn on the TV again in the future. Reinforcement is the key to changing behavior, and it's at the heart of something called operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a pretty complex name given to a pretty simple process that explains exactly how you behave. Put simply, a behavior can be either rewarded or punished. Rewarding or reinforcing a behavior will keep it going, whereas punishing a behavior will make it stop happening. Positive reinforcement is adding a reward. This is like giving your dog a treat because they listen to your command. Positive punishment is adding a punishment. This is your parents yelling at you because you broke something and they just don't want you to break something else, so they add a punishment. On the flip side, negative reinforcement means taking away something unpleasant. Like when you're peacefully sleeping in the morning until your alarm clock goes off and you need to get rid of the unpleasant sound, so you turn off your alarm. Last is negative punishment, where you take away something good. This is your parents taking your phone away because they don't want you sneaking out of the house anymore. If that was a lot to take in, here's a chart that'll hopefully make things a little easier. Back to our gym example, if you want to get yourself out of bed and onto a treadmill, you should be really focusing on reinforcement. Is there any way you could provide yourself reinforcements by going to work out? Or if you're feeling extra angsty, is there a way that you can find a way to punish yourself for not going to the gym? If you're not getting any type of reward or reinforcement for going to the gym, you're going to eventually stop going. As childish as it might sound, it could actually help a lot. Just having someone you trust being like, yeah, man, you get to watch a movie tonight, or nah, man, and just not letting you watch another movie until you go to the gym. Bottom line, no reinforcement, no behavior change. And what you're actually going to do is trick yourself into thinking what you're doing is actually what's best for you. And I know that's guaranteed to happen because of lesson 3. Confirmation bias is the idea that we naturally seek to prove ourselves right. It's unconscious, it's ingrained in us. We want to feel correct, we want to feel right about the things we know, or at least the things we think we know. If you really do believe something to be true, your brain will unconsciously find all the evidence in your environment to make sure that you feel as though you're right. Your brain hones in on all the evidence it can find that proves you right and actually ignores and forgets all the times you were wrong. The best example I have is a lot of people just say they're bad at math. If you genuinely deep down believe you just suck at math, you were just born bad at math for whatever reason, you put yourself in this cycle where you truly believe you suck at math, so then every time you do bad at math, you're like, right, see, I knew I sucked at math. But the truth is, no one is born good at math, and you don't really have a problem with math. You more so have a problem with how you view yourself. Mere exposure effect is the idea that you like people more the more you're around them. Simply just by being around others, just literally you physically are in their presence more, and just don't be a complete jerk to them, people will like you more. It's the mere exposure effect, just merely exposing yourself to them, not a weird way, but just being in their physical presence makes people like you more. The underlying idea is that we humans like familiarity. The quote they always say is, familiarity breeds liking. So if you're going to a new school or moving to a new city or just got a new job, just show up consistently to the same places at around the same times, around roughly the same people, and over time they will like you more so long as you're just not a douchebag. You don't even really have to talk that much. Just sit down, shut up, be nice, and let psychology do the heavy lifting for you. Think about it. Most of the friends you have now are probably just because you were forced to be close together in some capacity. Whether you went to the same school or had the same class together, you're just neighbors, or even if your desk is right next to their desk at work, these are the people that are much more likely to be your friends, much more likely to be the people that you like keeping around in your life. You're not friends with some random person halfway across the world. And the mirror exposure effect played a big role in making those relationships happen, whether you realized it or not. For the fifth lesson, and my favorite thing I've ever learned in psychology, is called cognitive dissonance. Now, this is a very deep rabbit hole, and I've had it explained to me through various different lenses, but the best way I can explain cognitive dissonance to you is there's some mismatch between what you believe and what you're actually doing. So you believe one thing, but you do another. The thing about being a human is our brains actually hate this disconnect. So one thing is going to change. Either your belief is going to change or your behavior is going to change. For example, if you genuinely believe you're a world-class singer, but then you never sing in front of anybody, well, your belief says one thing about you and your actions say another, and eventually one of those things is going to change. Now, usually we change our beliefs because that's much easier to change. It's much easier to be like, well, I'm not a world-class singer, than it is to actually go out and become the next Taylor Swift. But there's something powerful to be said about strongly held beliefs. Back to our gym example, if you truly believe you are someone who goes to the gym and then you don't go to the gym, well, we have dissonance. But if you actually hold on to that belief almost delusionally and identify yourself as someone who goes to the gym, you truly believe this deep down, holding this belief like a rock, your behavior is forced to change, which is extremely difficult to do. But if you're able to be firm in your belief, well, then your behavior is the thing that's going to have to change. Now, if you sit there and you're like, I believe I'm a lottery winner, so that means my behavior is going to have to change so I eventually become rich, right? Obviously, no, that's not the case. You want your belief to be more clearly defined than that and definitely more realistic, but the power of cognitive dissonance is real. Something more relevant to a student is procrastination. You know procrastination is bad for your grades, but you will continue to procrastinate over and over again. To reconcile this difference, what do? Well, you tell yourself, well, I'm just good at procrastinating. I'm just better under pressure. I actually learn better this way. I mean, trust me, dude. Trust me. Like, it's actually easier for me to procrastinate. I actually am more efficient when I procrastinate. I like the stress. It helps me get work done faster. This justification is all done just because you can't hold the belief that you're a good student and procrastinate at the same time. So you come up with this justification to be like, no, I am still a good student and I can procrastinate. It's your brain engaging in cognitive dissonance. And the more you look for it, the more you'll see it in your daily life. If you learned something, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. If you have any questions or want to learn about something else, leave a comment.